Apologies once again. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We are recording now.
Yep.
So I wanted to just welcome everybody to the Berlin Consortium for German Studies information session. Thank you so much for everybody for taking the time out of your busy day to join us today to learn a little bit more about the BCGS. I just wanted to ask some of the others here to just introduce themselves. So Jill and Paisley, maybe you can introduce yourself. And I see Alana too, if you'd like. So Jill, go ahead.
Sure. Hi, my name is Jill Berea. You've probably gotten some emails about this session today. I work at Columbia in the Center for Undergraduate Global Engagement and work directly with the BCGS. So happy to answer any specific questions regarding the experience overall in the application process. Paisley, you want to go?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm currently in Milstein, the library. It's so nice to be on campus in this situation, at least. But anyway, I'm Paisley. I'm a BCGS alum, here to answer any questions you might have. I did the year-long program.
Thanks, Paisley. Thanks, Jill. Alana, do you want to just say hello, maybe?
Sure. Hold on one second.
Thanks.
Where am I? Am I there? Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Alana Kranz, and I work at University of Chicago. So I'm unfortunately not an alum of the program, but can help anyone who is going through University of Chicago to learn more about the program. So Ryan, I'm happy to see that you're from U Chicago, and we can chat offline sometime.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you. And I think I might have forgotten to introduce myself. So my name is Fei Ju. I'm one of the associate deans in the Center for Undergraduate Global Engagement. And I'm really happy to be able to talk about a little bit about the BCGS today. The BCGS is actually a consortium of 8 institutions, including the University of Chicago and some of our peer institutions. And so we're really excited to have the involvement of the faculty at each of these schools, as well as the study abroad officers at each of these schools, just supporting this program and helping to manage and administer it over the last 25 years. Columbia is actually the administering institution. So what that means is that, I'll just use the University of Chicago as an example. If you're working with your home school, you'll also at some point be working with Columbia in terms of applying to the program and receiving materials and getting some emails from us. So we're happy to work with everybody. The program actually is open to students from our member schools, but it's also open to interested students from other institutions as well. So we're always happy to have students who are interested in going to Berlin and whose academic goals and personal goals, professional goals might be, fulfilled in some way by participating in the BCGS. I also wanted to just take a quick moment to acknowledge how challenging this past year has really been for everybody, and also how it continues to be challenging. And so I just wanted to let you know that we are all here to support you. And I think I can speak on behalf of all of the institutions through the BCGS as well. That, if you have any questions or would like to just talk through what you might be thinking about in terms of planning for study abroad, whether it's for the upcoming fall academic year or even into the future, we're always happy to hear from you, and we're really happy to be able to have the opportunity to just talk with you about what you're thinking to help plan and to help decisions, whatever you need. So please know that we're here. As you can see, the chat is open already. So I think we're going to try to get through the presentation as best we can, but feel free to drop any questions into the chat. We'll try to answer them as we talk through the chat or as we talk through the presentation. And if we don't get a chance to answer the questions during that time, we'll try to answer them at the end. Without further ado, we're really excited to be able to present today 2 programs. The new fall term program, which is following the US fall term program or academic year fall semester program, which usually ends before the end of December. And then also to talk a little bit about the original BCGS program, which follows the German academic calendar. I probably said a lot, but we'll go to the next slide. Feel free to drop any information about yourself if you'd like in the chat. We're happy to hear from you. Okay. Yep. And this is just a quick overview of what we'll talk about, which is the new fall term program, as well as the original program. We'll talk about how to apply and also take some Q&A. Berlin, I mean, I suppose, how many people have actually been to Berlin already? Oh, great. Okay. Yes, Paisley. Me too. Yeah, so this is really exciting. I mean, I don't think I have to talk too much about Berlin. It's a fantastic student-friendly city. So I think we can move on to the next slide. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about the program. Jill, do you want to take this on?
Sure, of course. So, oh, yep. So as you'll find, what we're going to do is talk a bit more about your contacts at BCGS and then roll into the fall term program. So when you head off to Berlin, you will get to know these friendly faces, Nico and Carmen, who are the resident director and assistant administrative director of the BCGS. I obviously am also there as a main point of contact as I sit at Columbia and work in coordination with your home schools in a lot of ways, or if you are sitting at Columbia as your study abroad advisor. So please feel free to be in touch with me throughout this. And I always like to start in saying the application, it's a lot of detail. And so we've tried our best to explain it, but happy to sort through or answer any specific questions you might have. To get started, we're going to highlight the fall term program. As Faye has mentioned, this is a brand new program that we've launched just for this upcoming fall term thus far. And we're really excited. Historically and still today, the German calendar has a very different calendar timeframe in comparison to what we find in the US. And so this allows students the opportunity to study abroad. It starts at the end of August and runs through about the early to mid-December timeframe, so one term. It also provides the opportunity to have students participate with low or no German language ability. So if you're on the call and you haven't started German language courses, no worries. If you are intermediate or advanced, no worries too. We have opportunities at all levels due to this program opportunity, which we'll talk about in a minute. The program is run in cooperation with the FU Best and the FU, which is the local institution based on the ground. And so you'll have essentially a variety of people that you'll be engaging with to support you throughout the experience and before, during, and after. I will also point out from an academic perspective, the BCGS hosts writing consultants throughout the course of the time that you would be there. And we'll have Paisley maybe speak in a few minutes about the writing consultants, but it is an opportunity to engage with local students on the ground to help strengthen your academic work, specifically your German language work as you're submitting it for your different classes. And then finally, as a pathway to the BCGS spring program. So more to come, but this is we look at this as a feeder opportunity to think, wow, I had a really nice experience during the fall. What opportunities could exist for the spring term? And so whether that be rolling into our original program or should we explore additional opportunities that last one semester in the spring at lower levels, more to come on that. The FU Best, so as I said, you'll be engaging with the FU Best and taking, in some instances, academic experiences on this campus. So these are some of the pictures that we've taken directly from their site. As you can see, it's a full campus with, I would say, a handful of building access where students are able to spend time both indoors and outdoors and also have points of contact there to support you during your time abroad. In addition to Nico and Carmen, who I mentioned earlier, should you take courses at FU Best, Christina and Philip will also be points of contact throughout the duration of the experience. And we are in almost, I would say, daily communication with them as well. So there's an ongoing communication with both US partners and partners based in Berlin. I bring this slide up. I know it's a lot of details. So first off, know that this table is located on the fall term program webpage. And what you can really take a look at is the language prerequisite column. And that will help you better identify which, as we're calling them, different options that will exist for the fall term program. So students with no prior language ability, there's definitely opportunities to take beginner German and then taking some elective courses at the FU Best. And then options 2, 3, and 4 go up in terms of taking higher level language coursework, as well as potentially at the higher levels taking some courses in German. I always say for students that maybe haven't taken all of their courses in German prior, this is an opportunity to engage your language skills. So we encourage you to really look at these options should you have the prior language skills. We've worked very closely with your directors of the German language departments on your campuses in a lot of ways, if you're part of the consortium, to ensure that students with this type of prior language ability will be able to meet the needs of these German language courses. So definitely a great opportunity there. We'll talk about the more specific courses here in a moment. To get started, so if you're at the lower level, so you haven't taken any German, or you've just taken about 2 to 3 semesters, you will have the opportunity, as that table just shared, to take a language course and then 3 elective courses that will be taught in English. There's about 20 different options of courses in a variety of different topics. I've listed a handful of them here: art, econ, film, gender studies, etc. But there's definitely more opportunities even beyond those topics. All courses will be taught at FU Best, so the buildings that I had shared earlier, and fellow students within the courses will be international students. We indicate that this is located, these courses are on the Lankwitz campus, and that's important to note, just given that there are actually 2 campuses that the BCGS is working on, Lankwitz being one of them. So the FU Best is based at the Lankwitz campus, and students within options 1 and 2 would be based at that campus for their academics. Options 1 and 2, I put this on here only, I know it's a lot to absorb. Know that this is part of the application and also available on the website. So no need unless you really want to take a screenshot. But what's important to highlight is that in the morning, students within option 1 and 2 would take a German language course. And then in the afternoon, there are 2 time frames, 1:30 to 4 and then 4:30 to 7, where those 20 courses that you have options to select from kind of fall. And we've given you this table so you can better understand, as you select which preferences you have for your courses, you can better determine how your courses might land in terms of what options. So you pick courses that don't overlap from a time frame perspective. But again, this is part of the application. No worries if you can't digest it all right now. We'll move on to option 3. So students that are a higher level language ability, the 3 to 4 semesters of German prior to departure, again, you would be taking a language course and then 3 elective courses. So in this case, you would be taking 2 courses in English, similar to those 20 course options that we highlighted just a moment ago. And then you would have the opportunity to take 1 course in German to really strengthen those German language skills. The 3 courses in German, you would be able to select from migration and religion, a politics course, or a course that's focused on the Jewish Berlin as the course title. The English courses are taught by the FU Best, and the German course is actually based at the FU, the actual local institution, in what they call as a block seminar format in terms of the time frame of when the course starts and ends. Fellow students are international students, and what is important to know as you're looking at option 3 is that you are going to be based at both the Lankwitz campus and then the host institution campus, the Dahlem campus. So that's just important to know as you start to pick and select your courses. Again, this is even more complex as you look at it, but what's helpful to see here is in the green, you will find that those are the 3 courses that are taught in German that you would select from. We've learned that students will have a good amount of availability to get into one of those 3 block seminar courses, so you can just put on the application which course you want to take. And then the orange or the red graph, sections of the graph, are the 20 other courses that are taught in English. What's important to know is that number 1, you are going between 2 campuses, and so it's really important to select courses that do not overlap in terms of the time frame. So again, this is available on the website and as part of the application, but we hope that this is a helpful resource as you start to select your courses. And then finally, option 4, so those students that are really at the much higher level of German ability and want to go for 1 semester, you would have the option to take 1 language course and then 3 elective courses in German. And those are the 3 courses that we mentioned earlier. So migration and religion, the politics course, and the Jewish Berlin. All 3 of those courses would be taught in the language course at the FU in the Black Summer format, and you would have fellow students as international students, and you would be located at the Dahlem campus. The language course is part of the original BCGS program, and so you would have that opportunity to really integrate in with the original students towards the beginning of the academic experience. It's about a 6-week, really intensive language opportunity. We give you just some examples for housing. I would say more to come on specific details. I think what's important to know is that there's, number 1, different options for housing. We will be looking at dorms, just given everything for this upcoming year. And so you'll see different options. There will be, different price points for these different options. As you can say, some are a little bit more lavish than others, some are more directly in the city than others. But important to know that more information to come. But then secondly, you will decide on your housing opportunity well in advance of departure. And so more to come, but courses housing does fill up rather quickly. So stay tuned for more housing details, but this is just some good examples. How to apply. And so just to help you guys, we've broken this down onto 2 different web pages. So students at a lower level who fall within the options 1 through 3 participants, you will see this web page. You can see at the bottom left-hand corner, and you can just start your application today. The March 1 is the deadline. We know that is soon, but we want to be mindful of the fact that the 20 courses in English could fill up well in advance of deadlines. And so courses do fill in a first come, first serve basis. So you are welcome to open an application today, and you are welcome to submit a course selection form if you feel that you meet the option 1 through 3 language eligibility. At that point, I will download that form and actually start working with FU Best to just get you enrolled in, or get you placed within the courses that you have a preference. And then you can complete the additional materials, a general application, an unofficial transcript, and we'll eventually ask for an official. You'll have homeschool approval, whether that be being at Columbia and working with me directly, or if you're at a host institution. And then prior to departure, we encourage you to connect with your German language department just to ensure that you're selecting the program that meets your needs. So with that, I'll stop here, and I'll have Faye jump into the BCGS original program, both academic year and spring. So Faye, I leave it to you unless you'd like to open it up for questions. Feel free to do what you wish.
Yeah, I mean, why don't I walk through this program, and then we can answer some questions. So I think I learned from Paisley that this photo, I knew it was the BCGS office. And this is where Carmen's desk is, who's the resident director. And Paisley, I think, told us at our last info session that she spent a lot of time on those yellow couches. Is that right? Yeah. Okay, thanks. On to the next slide. Thanks. So, just to quickly say, I'm not sure that I said this earlier, the BCGS actually just celebrated its 25th anniversary. So we've been in existence for 25 years. We've had over 800 students participate in the BCGS. So for us to launch this new fall term program is quite an exciting opportunity for us. And we're also, of course, excited to continue to have our original program as well. So this is actually the outside of the villa where the BCGS Center is located. This is the home base for the program. It's on the Dahlem campus. It's where the BCGS offices are. This is where you'll find Carmen and Nico, the resident staff, who are there to support you through the program. There's also a couple of small seminar rooms. This is where the German Discourse and Culture course takes place. Carmen also teaches a course in the spring semester. This is where her course will take place. And there's a library and some space where you can do some work And I guess your mailboxes are there as well. So it's a nice little space. And I think it's kind of like on the edge of campus, right? Maybe not so far from one of the mensas, one of the cafeterias, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. So just a quick overview of what the original BCGS program is. So because this program follows the German academic calendar, students find that they can really only participate in this program either for the entire academic year, which takes place from September until July, or during the spring term, which takes place from March until July. The only exception to that are our quarter school system students. So our University of Chicago students sometimes are able to participate just in terms of the what we call the fall term, and to be able to be finished so that you can return to Chicago, I think, for the spring quarter. And this program is really designed for students with a higher level of German, right? So a minimum of at least 2 years or 2.5 years of German prior to going to Berlin. And it's really designed to prepare students to directly enroll into regular university courses alongside matriculated students. So Jill talked a little bit about the German Discourse and Culture course, which is the first 6 weeks of the program. And it's a specially designed course just for the BCGS students to really prepare them, to prepare you to take these courses at the German university system, right? In terms of how does one do the research? How does one write a paper in German? How does one study in German? But it also provides information about, you know, kind of just in terms of to almost orient you to Berlin. So it also takes some time to cover, you know, the local politics, some cultural activities, maybe some of the hot topics. And then during the first 6 weeks, there's weekly field trips. And so there's always readings that are done to prepare you for that trip. And then the return, there's a reflection. So, you know, one of the trips might be to the Bundestag. So you might do some readings about the latest sort of parliamentary questions that are being discussed. You might go to the parliament. You might have a session with a government official and be able to ask some questions that you would have already prepared in class, and then come back and sort of debrief about the experience. So every week for the first 6 weeks in German Discourse and Culture, as part of the course, you'll be doing something interesting like that. So it's a really interesting way to begin to get to know Berlin and German culture and society. And then after that time, you'll be taking classes, and actually, I think that's the next slide. I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. But after that, you'll be taking either a BCGS course, which Carmen teaches in the spring, or you'd be directly enrolling into university courses at the FU, which is either taught in German for matriculated students. They could potentially be taught in English for matriculated students. Some departments are starting to teach more courses in English. And then also there are the courses that are taught in German for international students. So depending on your language level, depending maybe on your academic goals, there are, you know, there are ways to sort of customize and individualize your courses, your course schedule, right? It might be a little bit, tricky to think, how am I going to take classes alongside other German students? But there's a bunch of different courses that you can choose from. And then also, I think as Jill mentioned earlier, the BCGS does hire writing consultants who are graduate students primarily, who are there to help you through, especially courses that are taken in the German university system. And then finally, there is an opportunity to do some cross enrollment at some of the other institutions in Berlin. So that's an opportunity as well. So, okay. This is a chart that's on our website that just shows sort of the individualized, customized course schedules that students have taken. So each column sort of shows the different types of courses that students can take. Yeah. Okay, and then on to the next slide, which is, it looks like it's about housing, right? And again, the same thing as what Jill said, there are different options for housing. And we have focused right now on the individual housing in the student dormitories. You know, for those of you who are thinking about going abroad in the fall, will probably have a modification to the program, which is that students won't be actually placed with host families, which has traditionally happened in the first month of the program. But instead, what we will recommend that students do is select single rooms in these student dormitories. And there'll be more specific information about what that process looks like once students are accepted. Okay. And then just in terms of the application, it's going on our website, clicking on the button, and it gives you a general sense of what materials are needed, you know, including an official transcript, a writing sample. You'll meet with your director of German language if you're at one of the consortium member institutions, who will, you know, help to advise in terms of which level you're at and maybe help to provide some more information about the types of courses that you might choose once you're in Berlin. If you're a student from outside of the consortium, we'll ask you to connect with the Columbia German language director, who will also work with you closely as well, as she's quite familiar with the BCGS program. So, you know, there's a few application pieces, nothing too onerous, I hope. Yeah, and then was there another slide, or are we pretty much done? Oh, okay. And then for both of the programs, there's some opportunities potentially if students are interested to think about applying for internships. So for this program, especially for students who are applying for the academic year, there's a big break, or there's a bit of a break between the fall semester and the spring semester. So it's February and March. And students, if they're interested in internships, that's a great time to think about it. And there's ways that you can begin to prepare for that by, you know, going to your career services and maybe talking to them about these possibilities, and maybe potentially finding alum or finding connections that you can begin to contact before you head to Berlin. And then for the fall term program, the same thing. There's some time to, especially if students go in the fall and they decide that they want to stay on for the spring, there will be a little bit of a break, January and February, the same thing, the 2 months that students can choose to participate in an internship, or maybe they'll decide to travel, or they can return home. There's lots of different opportunities that one can begin to prepare and plan for. Okay. So this slide sort of just spells out some of the differences, but I thought what would be helpful would be to pass this on to Paisley, because I think you probably want to hear from her a little bit more about her experience. Paisley, if you don't mind introducing yourself with your major and all of that, and maybe cover sort of your housing and your academic program and all of that, that'd be great.
Yeah, of course. I have a lot of notes here, so just cut me off if I'm rambling. But I'm Paisley. I'm a senior. I went abroad my junior year, and I got back this past September. I'm a music major. I was also a German major, but that is no longer. I'm a German minor now. But anyway, I've done the wheelhouse of the types of courses available. I took the courses for international students who are not native speakers, the courses for native speakers, the courses taught in English, the courses offered by the BCGS visiting professor. Last year it was a professor from Princeton, and that's like a course specifically for BCGS students. They're all like varying levels of academic difficulty, but honestly said, and I can really only speak for Columbia Barnard here, I don't know about the other universities, I found the workload to be a little bit less than what we're used to here, but I don't want to mislead you. It being in German, I think more than makes up for the number of pages you're reading being less, or the amount of assignments you're doing being less. Having to do everything in another language is very difficult. There's also like something to be kind of prepared for, is there's a general lack of like university culture, because most German students will commute to university and they don't really stick around after class. There isn't really like a campus life like we might be used to, and it can be kind of difficult to make friends. But I find that like it was easier to make friends with the people in my cohort and meet people through them. And for housing, I lived in the dorms. I lived in the dorms at Schlachtensee, and I know people who lived in the other dorms and people who lived in their own apartments, like through a WG, doing a sort of like living, sharing situation with other Germans. Happy to put you in touch with any of them if you want to talk about that. I really liked Schlachtensee. A lot of people don't like Schlachtensee because of the location, but I really liked it because even though it's kind of outside of the city, I really liked being in the wilderness, so to say, by the lake. I spent a lot of time at the lake, especially during the COVID months. I think Berlin has something for everybody, whether you're an art student or a music student or you like to eat. There's a lot of great food. Nightlife, though I can't say for sure whether or not there would be nightlife in the fall. And I don't know. I think if you're on the fence about applying because of your language level, like just do it. Maybe reach out to Carmen and Nico beforehand, because if you're willing to put in the work and you talk to them about it and you're honest about it, especially for the fall semester, because so few students are typically enrolled, I think just do it. Just do it. Don't be afraid to ask for help. I think that's it. Culture shock is real. It's not a lie. That's it.
Thanks, Paisley. Why don't we open it up to questions? Since it's such a small group, I wonder, before you ask the question, if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself